Hi, and welcome back here at episode 114. We're on the servi-car here. Last episode, you saw me upgrade to the needle bearings instead of the roller bearings. I put in our hub nut washer and nut on there. So this is the washer. This is a new one. So the three tangs go inwards. And then this is the nut. So you'll see how the nut has a different shape of it there. And that's what the socket. So here's the socket here. So that socket will go over top. Let me see if I can just set it'll go inside once I find the right groove there. There it goes. So the nut goes inside there. And then the washer obviously is like that. So the washer, the tangs goes inside first, then the nut. So the nut actually looks like that. So it's sitting inside the lip. Then when we get it tight, 70 to 80 foot-pounds, I'll take a punch and I'll peen the washer over and it'll go in between the tangs. So that's so it won't back off. So I've got the nut on there, so we're going to slide the tool on. And then I also have this tool. You see it says 45 right on it. I had these over at Tom's, so I had to go get them. I'm keeping the clutch basket on when I do this. For no real reason except for I want it to, I don't want those roller bearings to fall out again. So I'm trying to get it so I can get it lined up. I may have to, because I've got my jack underneath here. Let me zoom out a little. Got my jack underneath there. So what I'm trying to do is line any of the three holes, or excuse me, the three long studs up with anything. So there I can line it up. So I'll just go down, there we go. So now as I go to tighten this nut, it's gonna bottom out there and it won't allow the clutch hub to turn. I'm going to switch the stand over. So just give me a second here. So I gotta get my torque wrench. I kind of getting this, I'm putting you in the other stand now. I'll lower you down. Lower you down more. So 70, 80 foot-pounds. So the end of the socket, you can put the end of the specialty socket, you can put a ratchet end in, or you can put a bar in and tighten it. So a lot of the specs say just tight. The only spec I could find said in between 70 and 80 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go 70, 80 foot-pounds. It does not call for Loctite. It says Loctite on the shovel head models and after, or in later or newer, I should say. So this is a 45 pre-shovel head. So we're not going to, well, I shouldn't say that. They made them both at the same time just for a few years. But I'll grab my torque wrench, so give me a second here. We want to make sure we have everything to spec. We got the torque wrench. So it says 70 to 80 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go right to 80. We're going with no Loctite. So I'll go to 80. Just show you there. 80 foot-pounds. I know it's tough to see. Now I got to get the socket to go back through. I was going to gather that, so what I'm going to have to do is put the socket on first. Just going to hit it on this. I got my new nut, but I'm going to put this old nut on because just how I'm going to do it. I'm going to take out the holding bolt, the pinch bolt, if you're putting a bar through. Now I'm going to slide this over. There's a hole in the center. Now we'll line this back up. Once I find the holes I was in, it's got holes on both, obviously both sides because the holes go through, but it's just, there we go. Now we'll put it back on the, so as you can see, I'm holding the clutch itself, our clutch basket I'm holding with this tool, and then I'm going to tighten to 80 foot-pounds the actual nut. Remember, my tranny is, the bolts are in, but it's loose right now. There it goes, that's 80 foot-pounds right there. So now I can pull that all off. Set that down. So again, this holds the clutch basket on the studs. This is the socket for the clutch hub nut. This is a clutch hub nut. And this is a clutch hub washer. So now I'll get a punch, and I'm going to punch down, and I'm going to fold this thin tin into a couple spots on the actual nut, and that keeps it from backing out, hence why we didn't need Loctite. Yeah, some people still put Loctite on, but this is my first kick at the cat, so until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to just leave it the way it is. Or let me say I'm just following the manual as per. So that's been torqued up. So now, let's see if we can zoom in. So that's the nut there, and you can just see that I have enough to bang over. Yeah, so there, it's all turning as a unit there. So I'm going to get a little punch and bang down in there. I already got my hammer there. What I think I'm going to go with, I think it's going to fit in there. I'm just going to grab the new nut to see. Yeah, I'm going to go with the heel bar, a heel bar to bang it down. You should be able to see that. Now I'll turn it again. Whichever ones I can get lined up. There's one there. might be able to just use a flathead screwdriver, and with the clutch basket on, it is a little harder to get to it. Kind of like the heel bar better. Kind of bends it right in there. Yeah, so that's 3. I think that should be suitable. You could go around and bang them all, but some of them are lined up with one of the clutch baskets studs, so really no point. So now I've got my engine gear. I'm going with a 27 tooth. Let me zoom you out there, sorry. 27 tooth, which is going to go up here on the engine. I can hear the squirrels running on the roof of my shop here. It's fall here. I got pumpkins to do with the girls this weekend. So Halloween is upon us here shortly. So brand new, just pulling it out. These parts here I got from TJ's in Corona. Great guy, Jeff the owner. He's actually closing up shop, so I've been spending a bit of time as in going through his stuff with him, making sure I have what I personally need. There's a keyway. I'm just trying to make sure it's tapered. This is a tapered shaft. I don't know if you guys can see that there, it's tapered. So the sprocket only goes on one way. So won't go on that way. So the keyway's right there, so I'm going to, it goes on that way. So I'm gonna put the keyway in, but the key here is too, I have to get the chain ready, so I gotta pull my clutch basket back a bit. So I'm gonna get this all organized while I can show you the chain here. This is the chain here. And I'll open it up. So we got our new sprocket, 27 tooth. We got our nut. Got our nut. We've got our keyway. I don't know if you can see that little keyway there. And then we got our new chain here. So on these 45s, the primary is a dry primary. You got one little oiler that will drip down, but besides that, it's not in a bath of oil. So I'm going to shut you off here real quick. I got get a few different tools, and then we'll get set up. So here we are. I got the keyway. I'm going to slide the keyway into the crank there. Just going to tap it in lightly. I'm just going to tap it in. And we're going to slide our gear on. Make sure it goes on. There it goes. It's on there now. So I got to make sure that it went on, but now because the distance here, you'll see we don't have enough distance with the center post and the chain, that we're going to have to slide it off, which I'm hoping none of my roller bearings fall out, because I got the tranny loose. Remember, we got to leave the tranny loose, and I don't think, I don't have enough room to get it to go. So now I've got to back this clutch basket off again, hope that none of those bearing rollers come off. Just pull it back a little bit so we don't get it right off. Get the chain sitting on that sprocket correctly. Now we're going to pull that out. Because the keyway, you got to make sure it's in the correct way, or there we go. So I didn't lose any of the bearings, and we got the clutch in there. So we got the primary chain on now. 1/2 inch up and down is what we need, but I got to get this nut started. I haven't found the torque spec on the nut yet, but that being said, I can tighten it down snug. Anyways, there it goes. So the engine, that tells us the engine's free. As it's turning over, I can hear the compression of it. That makes me feel good, obviously. So how we adjust it now is we've got to slide the transmission back. So just give me a second and I will get a bar. I'm going to put a bar in between my seat post and the top of the tranny and just slowly move it back. And then we'll check for our tightness. There's the 3 bolts on the bottom of the tranny, and that's what we'll tighten it up when we're ready. But so we put the keyway in the front. We made sure that the sprocket would go over it, and it's a tapered sprocket and a tapered shaft. We pulled our clutch basket out a little bit so we get the chain on, and then we slid the engine sprocket all on together as a unit. So I'm going to get a bar here, and then we will try and move that transmission back a little bit at a time there. So here we are back. So on the bottom of the tranny, there's 3 11/16 nuts, and that's what we're going to tighten up once we get it shimmed or get it placed where we want it to. So I'm going to have to do some fandangling here. I'm actually going to put the cover doesn't move anyways because it's bolted into the engine. That's the inner primary. I just want to hold it so it doesn't get bent there. So I've got those bolts loose in the bottom. So 1/2 inch of up and down play is what we're looking for. So I'm just trying to see if I can move our tranny back a little bit. Half inch. And that's way more than a 1/2 inch. So I don't know if I should just try and pick it up and oh, there we go. I think that might be good there. I'm just going to snug it down a little bit. Once I snug it down, it might find a home. Like I said, I tried to do this cranny all on my own, and I never done a 3-speed. I was able to get it to turn when it was in just 3 forward gears, and then when I went to add the reverse gear, I couldn't get it to work. So I had to take it to a gentleman who, that's what he does for a living. He does them, and I don't think he charged me too much. I was actually happy with I was thinking it'd be over $1,000, and it was $500. So surprisingly enough, that I was happy with that. Gotta get a wrench for the one there. Can't really see these bolts, they're underneath, so don't, you're not missing much. There's a lock washer, or a flat washer, a lock washer, and then the nut. So, and you know, sometimes tight is tight, and sometimes too tight we could crack things. Don't forget, this thing is, you know, 80, 85 years old, so you know, you don't want to be too strenuous on it. And run them all up a little bit at a time. Don't need to crank one all the way and then have the other one not able to tighten up. See where that left us here for a chain play. Oh, that's too tight now. So as I tighten up those mounting bolts, the chain got tighter. I should have went back and forth. That does happen. You have a little bit of slack and then it gets taken up just from tightening things. So we'll back these off. We didn't do any damage or anything there, just it's too tight, so that's all. So we just got to move it ahead a hair, because we know that as we tighten it up, tighten the mounting bolts up, it's tightening the actual chain. So we'll get them loose again. Kind of would rather have my jack underneath the engine, but as of right now, I'm just kind of have it underneath the back subframe there because, well, it's not even a subframe, but underneath the back frame, but I'm gonna have to move it when we go to put the final drive belt on. So I'm gonna now move this ahead just a hair. You'll see it move ahead. Leave it too far there. I feel like if I could get it to tighten up right there. I would like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the tranny with my one hand and see if I can keep it from sliding here, but I've got to get these restarted here. So I'll check it again. Half an inch up and down. So let's go there. I'm gonna come around so I can see it firsthand with you guys. I think that might be too much still. Back it up just a hair. Sometimes when you got two people, this part of the job would be ideal for two people. Let's see if I can hold that and check it from this side. So if I hold it down, I just wish I had something to line it against, like to compare it. I think that's still too much. Still too much. I think that's just shy now. You just got to bump it ahead a hair. I think I'm liking that. How's that look in the camera? I could always grab a tape measure and actually do the spec that they're asking. So we will Let's find a spot. So we'll say we're at 4 right here. Half an inch they want. Well, that's a full inch. We're going 4. The bottom of that's at 4. Bottom of it's at 5. So half an inch. So we got to go a little bit more. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to get the proper tools out. So we're at 4. We're just about 4 3/4. So we pull back just a little bit more. So that's just a little too much now. And that's a game of not even inches, just a game of I think if I do that front one up, I'll go back and forth there. And we'll check it. I think that's too tight, but we'll check it. So the bottom of the chain is on the 4. Hey, you know what? That's 4 1/2, or excuse me, half an inch right there to 4 1/2. We'll snug it up a little bit, and then we'll check it. So sorry about that. My phone died. We haven't done anything since then. I went in and had some dinner. Took my sweater off, getting a little warm with it on. So we're still trying to get our 1.5 of slack here in our primary chain. So as you see, that's not quite there. I'm going to loosen the bolts again. It's a game of tight and loosen, tight and loosen. I'm hoping to get it done here tonight, get the primary cover on, and then I can move my stand to the center of the bike so next time I can get the final drive on. I've got the chain guard for the back and my axle adjusting screws as well. I'm going to come back over to this side. Excuse me. So just loosening it, you can see it's a little bit freer now, but that's because it's no longer rigid. It's no longer, it can move a little bit both ways. That might have been too far. So that's pretty tight there, but we'll see. I'll tighten it up and see if it draws it in. Like I say, there's 3 bolts, or 3 nuts I should say, 3 studs. I'm going to tighten the rear stud first here and draw it to the back. As we see, that did nothing there, so I'll have to slowly creep it back again. There's other people that are probably watching this that have done many of these, And they may say, oh, 3/4 of an inch is okay or something, but I don't know. I've never aligned one, so I'm just following what the actual spec is that it's asking me. Let me tighten that up there. From me feeling it from this side, doesn't feel bad. Again, though, that's just me feeling. I can't see it from this side, but like I say, the more I work on not only on this one, but if I get a 2-wheel 45. I like to get one that I can, I was actually looking at a panhead, but it ended up selling, but it was a good price. I'd like to get a 2-up 45, and maybe get rid of the Road Glide. My girlfriend and I, we enjoy going far trips still, but don't need to go fast anymore. I think we got it there. I'm going to come around and check. I'm happy with that right there. Yeah. I'm going to snug these up a little bit more. I don't know how bad she's going to vibrate, being a 3-wheeler and whatnot, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. May have to put Loctite on it, I'm not sure yet. So I think we might be under our half, but so there's 4. We're hitting half. So in deflection on the top, we're at the 9. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna get my clutch ready to install. So we got the old clutch right here. I got brand new clutch discs, so we'll get them ready here. So just bear with me. So here we have a Barnett clutch, brand new. I'm gonna cut it open here. Barnett's a good clutch company, and tried, tested, and true. So you want to make sure we're doing everything right here. So nonetheless, I'm going to look here. Here's one of the clutch discs that I took off. So it's got friction on both sides, so just like that one. So it's going to go on first. I'm just going to line them up. There we go. That's going to slide in. So I got the springs holding in that retainer for my bearings I put in. I might pull this out. The one got a little damaged. I don't want to have my hands on this clutch disc too much because you want to have them nice and dry, but this one here I might pull right off. There we go. It kind of untwined when I was working on it. So some will say out. This one doesn't say out, so it can go on anyway. So I'm just going with my old one. So now I'm going to set that old one aside. Now a steel plate goes. So I'm going to clean this plate up with brake clean, both sides of it, and then use a nice clean rag to clean it up. Get any oils or debris and whatnot, and they will be stamped on them, out or in. So this one's stamped right there saying out. So now we have our lugs that are riveted on. So now I just got to find the openings of them and slide them in. Easier said than done sometimes. There we go. So and then we have a double friction. All I'm doing is taking the old one apart here, and now I have another steel plate. So I've got to slide in our double friction. There we go. Now I'm going to clean the other steel plate. So 2 steel plates. Again, I'm reusing them. A little surface rust on them, but to be honest, because there's friction disc material, I should probably use a little bit of emery cloth and wipe them down. I'm going to see if I got any emery cloth over here. Doesn't hurt. I just got a small piece, so I'll try and use it wisely. So you can see there's just a little bit of surface rust on this one. So still good to use. These are pretty thick, so they don't bend or warp too often. A little 45 doesn't have enough horsepower to be sitting there riding the clutch the whole time. The clutch is activated by foot lever, so should be, not too bad. Probably have other sandpaper emery cloth somewhere else, but this will do the job we need right now. Now I'll use brake clean, spray it off. Like I say, if there's a little bit of grittiness on it, that's okay because the friction discs will make better contact. Not that it won't make good contact, these are brand new clutch plates, but now we look. So this one says out as well. So you see it right there. So now I'm going to put it in, kind of align it a little bit in a different spot. Not that that really matters, but there we go. And then last would be friction disc only on one side. So now I'm going to take this clutch, I'll keep it, and just move it over. And then now we've got the last clutch disc, as you see. Slide it on. So now we got them in place. Just going to change my gloves here from all the brake clean, and we'll get back at it. So now what we're going to do is we've got to put the rest of our clutch on. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our outside cover. We're going to line up 3 bolts from the back. 3 bolts from the back. Line them up. This is just going to help us align it. So there we go. 3 bolts from the back. Now we're going to take that off. Now we're going to slide our springs all on. And then where they're supposed to go, just set them in. So there's 10 of them. So the outside washer here has detents. If you can see them, they stick out. And then they're going to go on. So we're just going to slide it on. Oops. Slide it on. Like so. And then this is our adjuster here. So we're going to leave it the way it is, but we're going to put 2 washers. We want the washer to take up the surface area so I can compress this down. So I'm going to put it in. And just kind of make sure that they're all in. And then I'm just going to turn and tighten it up. Like so. See, and I pulled those out now. Now, I can turn it and slide it on. I may have to guide a couple of them on, but they all should line up. There we go. So now I just got to grab a wrench, and I forget what size it is, so I have it out there somewhere. And I'll tighten this up enough so I can get the threads to come through. There we go. And then I can get my nuts started. I'm sorry, I hope you can see that. Okay, you can. My battery's almost dead again. I ate, then came back out. So I only charged it for like 15 minutes, but should be okay. It's not quite out far enough, but so all these other springs now are on their little what size is that? I used a socket if I remember correctly. Again, I might over tighten them here at first, but I'm just gonna tighten them up. That one is a wrench, yeah. And tighten them up enough. I say I'll go back and reset it, but I want to take our adjuster off so I can get that washer off. That was literally just to help me align it. That's all its job is. Just make sure those are all in there. Manually turn it here and make sure that everything is like how it should be. So now I'll back this out. nothing should fly off. There we go. So all I used was my adjuster, a little bit of a bigger washer to take up that surface area, because now the adjuster goes on the inside. So no harm, no foul. So I just clean this up a bit here. So I just use 3 5/16 bolts to align it, and big washer in my adjuster. So I'll put this away and then I'll be right back. So I got to go through my manual yet to find out the setting of this clutch. I'm going to run in my adjuster onto the push rod, which is in the tranny. Run my locking nut down. I can get into that through my inspection cover, but I'm just not sure. I don't know if I need to have my actual linkage hooked up yet. And again, that's me just not knowing, because this is my first 45. So I'm going to slide on my primary cover here. Trying to remember, it goes bolt, washer, spring. I think there's another washer that's supposed to go on the top. Or maybe that washer that I put in the center isn't supposed to go there, which it probably isn't. So bolt goes in through the bottom, then a washer, then a spring, then a nut, and then a cotter pin at the top. So I got the cotter pin right here, and it would go there. Then we've got lock washer, and then we've got a nut to hold on the center of the not going on too nicely there, but we'll work it back and forth and make sure that this is all from TJ's and Corona, so it will be the right thread pitch. Just a new nut, an old stud. I do have a ratchet wrench here, so I'm just going to reach over and grab that. It's got a lock nut on it, or a lock washer, so it just runs in until it bottoms out on the shaft. Because my floorboard goes off of here, so there will be another nut. So there it is. The primary is all done. Again, I'll set the clutch up. I can go in through here, inspection cover if I need to. But I like the way it looks. We got the primary on, the chain adjusted to 1/2 inch. Got everything else on, so happy with that. I'm going to try and hold this so you guys can see me. Thanks for tuning in as I learn more of my servi-car and just working on a Harley 45. But thanks a lot for tuning in. Till next time.